Hello! Shoyan here. I'm a carpenter based in Japan. I'm installing the floor on the first floor today. I first installed the Shikii, then the entrance Kamachi, and the first floor flooring. I'm installing flooring again. You have probably seen many videos about it. Yesterday, I installed the joists and rafters. I first installed the Shikii at the entrance to the Japanese-style room. The Shikii is made of Japanese cypress with 3 grooves. As the owner plans to use the rooms without partitions, the sliding doors won't be installed for a while. This room will become the bedroom after the sliding doors have been installed a few years later. I cut the grooves to the Shikii and Kamoi in advance. In a Japanese-style room, Shikii can either be installed before or after the floor. This time, I'm installing the Shikii before the floor. The floor and tatami mats will be almost the same level, so only a small portion of the Shikii's edge overlaps the floorboard. As a result, if I install this Shikii after the flooring, that 4mm portion might crack if a gap occurs underneath. So I make sure the Shikii is properly secured first. This way, it won't twist in the future. Level differences between a Japanese-style room and a Shikii are only 4mm. Today, step-free access buildings are the norm, so fewer houses have steps. During our generation's apprenticeship in carpentry, there were steps of 55mm Shikii, sometimes 120 to 150mm in old houses. In training, I learned to make a 30mm level difference for a Shikii, which means the floor comes lower. If the house is step-free, the entire flooring must be replaced after a few decades when renovating. Renovations will be easier if there is a level difference. The standards are now step-free. The entire floor is flat, and people won't stumble. In my opinion, Roomba provides a great benefit for housekeepers. It can dance all around the house. Now I am installing the Shikii. I use a butt joint on both sides. I don't cut a mortise or tenon. I measured the thickness and planed the Shikii when I installed the joist earlier. It might look skimpy since I'm using a butt joint, but it's quite challenging to join. Unlike mortise and tenon joints, I can adjust the position precisely. If I work accurately, it will be firmly secured. I place a piece of wood and screw the Shikii firmly from the joist side. By doing so, the joist and the Shikii are joined together like a single piece of timber. On the bottom of the exposed vertical frame, I cut off the thickness of the floorboard. It's like extending the Shikii's edge groove. While this is a bit of a hassle, the later flooring installation work will be much easier. Based on the floorboard's length, I decided where it should be positioned. I decided on the overall balance of the entrance when I installed the joists. This time, I want to install the floorboards from the entrance Kamachi. I'll install them there later. There will be a serious problem if the floorboard is even 3mm short at the entrance. So I leave about 1cm extra width there. The second floor flooring is already installed. I decide on the position of the floorboard there.
はい
I cut the floorboard. This board is made of 30mm Japanese cypress with knots. The length is 3.64 meters. In the large living room, it will reach from end to end. I'm delighted about this. It's rare to find a solid wood that reaches from end to end. It's a pleasure to have no joints. I install the first flooring from the sliding glass door side. I've already decided where to install the floorboards in the whole house, so I cut the first floorboard according to the plan. If I cut it to the wrong lengths, the first floorboard will be installed diagonally. Then all the floorboards will be diagonal. It won't be possible to straighten them. I make sure that I cut the first floorboard accurately. Since I decided on how to install the first floorboard, I cut all the long floorboards that reach both ends of the room. Any floorboard scraps will be burned on the wood stove. Japanese cypress floorboards or joists burn well. I always put them in the rice bag. It's popular and will disappear quickly. The screw will go into the floorboard's edge groove when I secure the baseboard, so I make sure to attach a thin piece of lumber to the part. I start to install the first floorboard. The long floorboards are cut to the right size to install straight. If I over-tighten the screw on the first board, the plastic sash will slightly bend on the other side. So I drill a comfortable hole and tighten the screw to the proper tightness. By doing so, the floorboards won't shift and will be secured to the right position. Though the first board was installed straight, the process boards always have different lengths on the right, left, and center. After installing 14 to 15 floorboards, it always shifts left or right about a few millimeters at the edge. Every few floorboards, I adjust the position to ensure it is as straight as possible. I protect the floorboard installation area and change the cutting location. Protective boards makes the work easier. They are made of compressed paper. Once setting this protective board, it won't warp or roll up. I'm using the one that works best for me. In the old days, I used protective sheets and placed a goza on them. I also used cardboard. This protective board is a bit expensive, but it is the best choice for protection. From here, I will use 2 or 3 short floorboards and join them in a row. The house is 7.28 meters long, so I will install the floorboards by staggering 1.82 meters lengths. Before installing the boards, I mark the center of the joists, then measure and cut all the lengths. There is no tongue and groove on the floorboard's end. The ends will be directly attached. I cut the joint part slightly angled so that the boards attach well on the top side. As before, I first temporarily install the floorboards. All the floorboards have knots. I check the overall balance and then install them. If several boards are joined together, there will be a level difference. The colors don't match, so it's easier if only one long floorboard is used per row. As with the last site, there is an exposed pillar in the center. This time, it's a Japanese Cypress square pillar. The last site had a round pillar, so it was tricky to cut off the bottom, which is called a kubikiri technique. But it's square this time, so it's easier to use hand saws. It's important to do kubikiri before installing the 3 or 4 floorboards close to the pillar. Even if there are no floorboards, it's tricky to cut off. If even one floorboard is too close, it makes my position harder, and I won't be able to do it. Kubikiri is the most difficult hand sawing technique. I make sure that I cut to the exact height in one go. It's difficult to adjust the height if it's been cut too tight or loose for the floorboard. If it's too tight, I will hammer the floorboard to compress it, since it's difficult to chisel off neatly. If it's too loose, I will add the wet air to raise the floorboard. In any case, I ensure that I cut once and cut accurately. Now, I install the floorboards around the pillar. Since I did kubikiri on the pillar, I used the Yari-okuri technique. Yari-okuri can be done in 2 ways. Insert the floorboard's tongue side, or the end. This time, I insert the tongue side as deep as possible, which makes it difficult to measure and cut the lengths. I can cut off the pillar deeply to easily install the floorboards, but I'm cutting off the pillar as small as possible and inserting the boards, so it's tricky to install.
Ooh. Era.
Finally, I'm working on the entrance. The entrance width is 1.8 meters. The hallway is also only 2.7 meters wide. I decided the position earlier so that there will be an extra centimeter of a board at the Kamachi. I'm glad everything turned out as planned.
Oh.
I installed the Kamachi. The Kamachi will overlap the foundation for about 35 millimeters, which makes it stable. This prevents creaking, even under heavy footsteps. The Kamachi measures 12 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and is also made from Japanese cypress. Although it is small, the color is nice. It is also easy to work with. I'm the exact opposite of it. The wood is warm and easy to work with. I have applied the surface surfacer, but I made a small scratch during the process. To fix it, I used a hand plane. The plane's blade was not in perfect condition, but it's a nice entrance Kamachi. Usually, the floorboard sash is installed under the chamfered portion of the Kamachi. In the case of solid wood, it is possible that either the flooring or the Kamachi will dry out and become thin in the future, so I lower it than usual just in case. I use several tools to secure the Kamachi: glue, screws, and wedges. Today, screws can be used from both edges and the top, so it's easy. I'm now installing the last floorboard for the entrance. It is ideal to install the floorboard from the entrance side, but I can't install long floorboards from the entrance into the large room, because the entrance is 1.8 meters and narrow. Also, it doesn't fit on the sash. As a result, I decided to work on the entrance later. Since the floorboard is thick, it's difficult to install it. I make sure that I install it as tight as possible, since it can't be fixed if it's too loose. I managed to install it. It looks nice. I also installed the floorboards in the kitchen and the closet area. I made a space for an access door in the closet area. The kitchen will be installed over the joints of these floorboards. The entrance Kamachi and the Shikii have been installed. The floor installation took 2 days. I need one more day to complete it, so I'll continue tomorrow. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.